The new Marvel saga called X-Manhunt has Charles Xavier as a fugitive while the X-Men go on a hunt to make him answer for his crimes. I'm Andrew the Geek Master, and in today's video, we'll cover the first chapter of this story that shows Professor X humiliating the X-Men. To not miss stories like this one, hit that subscribe button, turn on the notification bell, and let's get started. The story begins with a Shi'ar interplanetary station in orbit around the planet Leo in the distant Phobos system, where an insignificant ship approaches without showing signs of hostility, leaving the commander of this base very intrigued. What is this tiny insect doing near this monstrous military force that's capable of conquering a planet the size of Earth in just a few hours? The one who answers is the Shi'ar commander's right-hand man, Captain Elilan, who points a weapon at his leader, fires, and says this is nothing but a distraction to start a mutiny so they can take control of this powerful structure. After murdering everyone present, Elilan gives the green light for his revolutionary companions, the Liberators, to board and carry out a real massacre, dealing a heavy blow to the current Shi'ar government. However, this won't be so easy, since the Empress has one of the most respected warriors in the universe in her royal guard. Legends say she is the very incarnation of death, and we see that it's Deathbird, the sister of the former Empress Lilandra. She makes it clear to the traitors that to reach her niece, they'll have to walk over her dead body, and this is something she guarantees they won't manage to do. And all this terrible conflict, which could decide the fate of one of the greatest galactic empires in the universe, is felt on Earth, to be more specific, in one of the most reinforced cells on the planet, which holds a very special prisoner, the most dangerous man in the world, Charles Xavier. Yes, Charles just starts crying, and Xavier's emotional changes put all the guards at Grey Malkin prison on high alert. It turns out the greatest telepath on Earth can clearly see what's happening in the Shi'ar Empire and even begs Deathbird to stop the invaders from reaching the Empress, even suffering a mild tachycardia upon realizing that, no matter how powerful the warrior is, the forces of the Liberators are starting to gain the upper hand against the Shi'ar mutants. And indeed, the unthinkable happens. The invaders finally defeat the last line of Imperial defense and reach the chambers of Xandra Neramani, the daughter of Charles and Lilandra, and the current ruler of the Empire. So there were the Liberators, reading the arrest warrant for what they consider an abomination, an impure bastard and false empress. And in that final moment, she sends a telepathic message to her father, pleading for his help. But unfortunately, this distress call cannot be answered, as Corina Ellis's medical team sedated Professor X, fearing he might suffer a cardiac arrest. Charles can only say he's sorry before passing out. Then we jump to the Uncanny X-Men at the Paradise House in Louisiana. Wolverine and Jubilee start an intensive self-defense course for the Outliers, a group of young mutants being trained by the X-Men, who seem to be part of an ancient prophecy linked to the end of the Homo superior race. To learn how to defend themselves properly, they'll participate in a simple game where they have to stay standing within a designated area for 3 full minutes, fighting some of the strongest X-Men. The game starts, and right away the first one to be defeated is Calico, a mutant with psychic abilities who doesn't stand a chance against Nightcrawler's teleportation power. Jitter, who can focus on a single power for a period of time, invokes the ability to climb and goes to the highest point possible, while Deathdream, who has necromancy powers, keeps trying to dodge Jubilee's bombs. Ransom, who has super strength, is easily defeated by Logan, while Gambit, at Rogue's command, goes hard on the girl Jitter, throwing some of his charged energy cards, and the impact is so strong that the girl immediately bursts into tears. At this point, Jubilee catches Rogue and Gambit's attention since the girl could have been seriously injured. But Rogue doesn't regret going hard on the new mutants. She knows that villains like the Sentinels, Mr. Sinister, Sabretooth, and the hundreds of enemies of the X-Men won't hesitate to go hard on every living mutant on Earth. The X-Men themselves went through much more intensive training over years in the danger room, so it's not the time to pity the kids. They're forced to become excellent warriors because the older ones won't always be there to protect them. With that, the fun of the training ends, and Jubilee says goodbye, comparing Rogue's style to Cyclops', which bothers her a bit because she doesn't want to be like Cyclops, although she now understands him better. Wolverine understood Rogue's actions, and Gambit says that maybe his beloved saved the children's lives with this lesson. Maybe now they'll try harder when they realize they're not prepared, and this positive comment causes the couple to kiss passionately. However, suddenly, something unbelievable happens, catching everyone by surprise. Suddenly, someone calls Rogue, and when the mutant answers, she hears the voice of the director of Graymalkin Prison, Karina Ellis, who asks Rogue to gather her team and head to the old X mansion as quickly as possible. Meanwhile, we discover that dozens of guards at Graymalkin Prison have been infected with a mysterious disease and are on leave to recover before they can return to their duties. The detail is that one of these soldiers begins to have intense hallucinations. He starts seeing his own family as bizarre sentinel threats, which obviously ends in a terrible tragedy. Yes, this man ends up killing his own family. Back at Graymalkin Prison, Charles continues receiving high doses of powerful sedative drugs, but since his telepathic power is immeasurable, he manages to contact Sarah Gaunt, an old love of Charles who underwent a terrible transformation and became a monstrous being known as the Hag. Charles begs her to help him escape, but the truth is that Sarah has no reason to help him, especially because she hates Charles with all her might. At that point, Xavier appeals to the humanity he believes she still has. He says he needs to save his daughter, and Sarah knows better than anyone the pain of losing a child. And indeed, Sarah Gaunt uses her powers to free Charles from all his restraints, and immediately upon seeing himself free, Professor X feels a very familiar presence outside his cell. And sure enough, as soon as he exits, Professor X comes face to face with his beloved original X-Men. Or at least that's how he perceives the team in front of him, as he seems to still be under the influence of the drugs, preventing him from seeing things clearly. The mutants claim they came to help him, and Charles realizes something is wrong when he notices that he's standing, which would be impossible since he lost the use of his legs a long time ago. Rogue tries to calm him down and bring him back to reason, explaining that they're no longer in the past and that he has a malignant tumor at the base of his skull that's voraciously feeding on his telepathic powers. But unfortunately, the drugs, combined with the cancerous tumor, prevent Professor X from seeing reality. Instead, he fiercely attacks Rogue, ordering these weak traitors in front of him to reveal the location of his beloved students. Rogue didn't want to believe the words of Director Ellis about Charles suffering from this tumor, so she asked for help, and it's imperative that a being with such an immeasurable telepathic power isn't left free, putting humanity's existence at risk. Another detail is that the cancer is in a terminal state, so the only way to stop it would be through death, and in that, Wolverine is the best at what he does. Logan leaps at Charles and asks for forgiveness for what he's about to do, and this is where we get a small demonstration of what the legendary Professor X is capable of when his mental restraints are out of control. First, he counters Wolverine's attack effortlessly, throwing him over Gambit, then nullifies all of Jubilee's attacks, and then detects that Kurt Wagner is a serious threat due to his teleportation ability. That's why Charles asks how he feels having his incredible abilities paralyzed in the middle of a teleport. Nightcrawler gets stuck in the air in a bizarre scene with his body split in half, shocking his teammates. Rogue starts wondering if they made the right choice. After all, this man, besides being their mentor, is practically a father to some of them. She fought for his freedom and now finds herself face to face with the guy to whom she owes her life and is losing him. And to make things worse at that moment, Xavier unleashes all his mental power on the X-Men, whom he considers mere imposters unworthy of confronting him. In the end, all the X-Men are knocked out instantly, and the man who was once considered the mutant savior embarks on his mission to rescue his beloved daughter in the farthest reaches of the universe. And that's how Xavier, without hesitation, discarded each of the X-Men as mere insects in his way. Nothing else matters. Not the past, not loyalty, not the bond they once shared. Now, only one objective occupies his mind: to find his daughter and destroy anyone who tries to stop him. Leave a comment below letting us know what you think of the start of this saga, and as always, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell to get notifications for the next videos. Thank you so much for watching, and until the next adventure.